Welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, the American football podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. This is the preview crew, and I'm your host, Keith McGinty. It's week 5, and the World's Game goes international for the second time this season as the New York Jets take on the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. That must be a typo. Guys, can we fact check that, please? I just want to be accurate when we're going out with this. Right. I'm joined by the prodigal sons of the Irn-Cru podcast as they help me look ahead to Sunday's matchup at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and the rest of the week's games. First up, we have he's Adams to my Rogers, and we're delighted to be reunited again. It's Jets fan Patrick. Paddy boy, how are we?
I'm good. Thanks very much. How you doing?
I'm buzzing, absolutely buzzing. We'll get to it in a wee moment, as to why.
Can I just say how happy I am to have the old gang back together? This is like the OGs, so I'm quite pleased to see us all back in one room together. This is great.
Coming up to the birthday as well of the crew. Almost 3 years. Jinx. Big things happening, big things coming. We'll reveal more over the weekend as well. Next up, we have, he's the Jefferson to my Darnold. It's great to have our resident Vikes fan, Craig, back. Smudger, how are we, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've been in the practice squad of the pod for a wee while, but it's good to be back on and have a blather. I'm absolutely buzzing for the weekend. Cannot wait for London. It's going to be a cracking game. Can't wait to wind up all weekend. Starting tonight.
We've had you off IR for a wee while now, just desperate to pick the right game to get you back in, and that certainly seems to be the one. It's exciting things in store for us. Okay, and finally we have, he's the chewed turf to my Drake Mays sacked face. It's Pats fan Daniel. Danny, how are we, buddy?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. Good.
Good.
Great to have you back on.
I know, it's been a while. It's been a wee hot minute, isn't it, since I was on last, so good to be back and play on some ball. Wait, as Pat mentioned, the OGs.
The OGs, yes. I can see you still get your Fortress of Solitude there to the Brady room behind you there, looking sharp. Looking sharp. Yes, guys, it's coming up in 3 years since we started the crew. Great to get you guys back on again, talk some football. That's what the crew was set up for in the first place. We'd got through the dark times of COVID together, and it was just a way to keep us going and slag each other for our dodgy trade transactions and Sleeper and that rubbish NFL fantasy app as well. So yes, delighted to get you back on. We are all going down to London. We're off to London to see the green and the purple teams this weekend. I've not been before. I'm absolutely buzzing. This is going to be my first proper NFL game. I've seen the Claymores at Murrayfield when I was a kid, but this is getting really, really exciting for me. You guys have all been before, yeah?
Oh yes,
absolutely. Yes. Many a time.
Craig, I seem to remember you might have had the most recent trip down, and certainly one of the most exciting ones. What was the last game you were at?
2 years ago, we were down Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Didn't get a chance to go down last year, unfortunately, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed going down and watching the New York Giants, which was it was a cracking experience. Down with Murdo, he was delighted at watching Saquon in the flesh. He's not so excited about Saquon these days, but it was cracking. But I think I was trying to think back how many times now I've been down to London. I think this is number 5, I think. Done Twickenham once, done Wembley a couple of times. Spurs a couple of times. It may actually be 6 times, but it's just a brilliant weekend. It's so good. Like the game on the Sunday is brilliant and it is the highlight, but it's the whole weekend. It's going down and just meeting up with all the other fans because it's such a mixed crowd. There's just fans from like all 32 teams, all there, all getting dressed up with the face paint and everything else on, and not just from UK, all over. I've got one of my mates that I met when I worked in Germany. He's flying over, meeting us in London, so we'll catch Dirk on Sunday as well. So I'm buzzing for that too. Cannot wait.
That's the thing. It's certainly just it seems to be like a mecca for NFL fans, especially in the UK and Ireland, to get over for these games, and it's something I'm dearly been looking forward to. We're making a full weekend of it. I didn't get the memo that we were getting the train down. I thought you guys were going to be heading down early on the Friday, so I went for luxury over the more I don't know, cheaper version in the train. So I'm flying down tomorrow afternoon.
Dare you?
I'll be
Right.
tucked up in bed waiting for you guys getting in. Please be quiet. I really need my rest before we go out. You're getting the train down. I'm guessing Glasgow Central Station will be quite busy with NFL fans. Danny, you made the train down before?
Oh, yeah. I've only flown down, I think, twice. Now, I've been
Yeah.
going pretty regularly since 2012, so I must be going about this must be my 10th trip.
Wow.
Train every time, right? Because it's how when you're standing in queues and you're putting your wee toiletries in, wee bags, and getting told to stand up and sit down and we'll be sitting, hold all, bag of cans, pretty much. Some tunes on, playing some cards, having a good time. One of the times we went down recently, met some absolute sound guys in the train as well. They were going down for the game. Bears fans, had an absolute ball with them, good laugh. And it's always, and that's the great thing about London. There's always like people you meet, you know, some of your closest friends now is people we have met in London for these games. You know, we'll go down traditional Scottish. Well, I'm planning on taking the kilt anyway. And as Craig alluded to earlier,
100%.
we'll go make sure we're making a fool of ourselves basically as well. You know, we'll get dressed up, get up for the occasion, and it's always a talking point. There's always people want to come and speak to you, if it's Americans or other Scottish people. And then as soon as you do, you end up clicking. You've got something to bond over. It doesn't matter the teams. Let's face it, the way the cyclical nature of the NFL, you know, my Pats were at the top for so long. Now we're pretty much rock bottom. You know, everybody's always got something to slag them about, and there's always something to talk about. It's just the best experience. So, yeah, you're in for an absolute treat, mate.
I can't wait. I should mention the part of the draw of the NFL for us certainly is the getting with other fans and enjoying it and sharing the experience together. We were at the watch party through in Edinburgh, Dropkick Murphys on Sunday night to watch Red Zone there. That was put on by the Cameron and the guys at Stramash. It was a fantastic night. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Even got myself up on stage to answer a few questions, and that was pretty nerve-wracking. But the crowd were brilliant. There was loads and loads of people there. The Packers fans, I felt heart sorry for them because they thought they were getting back at East Craig. They just didn't quite get there. Patrick, you've been down to one or two games you've been down to?
I've been down to one. I was down at the Miami and Jags game a few years back.
Yeah.
With Danny and Scud. So I don't really remember much about the football at all, or even the whole weekend experience. Because, like he says, it's not a few cans on the train. It's a few cans before you get on the train, and then there's a whole load of cans on the train, and then you drink when you get there, and then you just lose days. So, like, don't let them kid you on that you remember anything about it. I think, you know, like, it's a bit hazy the whole weekend. Having to be a wee bit more sensible this weekend, obviously, but yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be good fun. It's just going to be great catching up with some old friends again. You know what I mean?
So you said it's a full weekend of festivities. Craig, what are some of the things that happen on is there anything planned for the Friday night, or is it just down, acclimatise? Then is it mostly the Saturday that the big build up?
For us, I mean, yeah, we'll not get down until a bit later on the Friday. There is stuff, like I've been looking on the socials for what the Vikings have got organised. They're in the Greenwood pub all week, and they've got stuff on. There's quizzes and meet and greets. There was a meet and greet last night. There was a quiz on, I think tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll be down. We'll be along there to like all the fan pubs on the Saturday. That'll be pretty much the whole day. Looking forward to it's great fun. Like, doesn't matter. If we walk into the Vikes pub, for example, with Pat, he's got Jets top on, everybody will, you know, shower him with booze and stuff, and there'll be vice versa when we go across to the Jets pub. That's just how funny it is. It's brilliant fun. You know, did it a few years ago, walking into the Packers pub when they were the home team, and it's part of what makes it so much fun. It's brilliant when you're walking at like any of your rivals' pub, and just to say you get chatting to so many people that way. Just thoroughly enjoy it, really. But yeah, we'll do that on the Saturday. Sunday as well, there's a couple of like official fan club pubs on the way to Tottenham Stadium, so yeah, we'll be jumping into those as well, and hopefully meeting up with a few other. There's a couple of boys from Hamilton that are flying down on the Sunday, so catch up with them as well. It's gonna be brilliant.
Fantastic. Danny, what are some of your favourite experiences outside of the games themselves? What are some of your favourite memories?
Murdo getting a tattoo in a hostel. It's bad enough it was bad enough it was a Giants tattoo, but it was about 11 o'clock at night on an absolute session for about 5:30 in the morning. You know, how you got to regret that? But to be honest, just fan pubs, meeting up with different folk. I remember just after the Eagles robbed us in Super Bowl 52, went down to I think it was Jags Eagles played that season. Went into that game again, get absolutely nothing but dogs of abuse from the Eagles fans, right? They're definitely one of the rowdiest fan bases out there, and they were out in full force. But as soon as walked in the pub, absolutely booze raining down. But within 10 minutes, you know, doing shots at the bar with some big guy from Pennsylvania or something like that, and you know, just absolutely amazing. You know, as I say, been down there about 10 times. I think it took about the 6th year again down before I went, oh, look, there's Big Ben or something like that. Right, forget sightseeing, forget London. You don't. This is all about just. Oh, I forgot. Actually, my finest moment, mind when we went down to the Vikings game, Smudger, and I gave the finger to Rick Spielman.
I was going to say, how could I forget Rick Spielman?
That was one of my favourite ones. Yeah,
that was good fun. That was a cracking day.
It was in best nature though. He took it well, and we had a good laugh together. But yeah, getting to meet, you know, the general manager of the Vikings at the time was absolutely brilliant, and you even get to meet all the NFL UK kind of faces down there as well. Neil Reynolds and Cecil Martin back in the day, met him. Yeah, so there's always loads of folk sort of floating about. So yeah, brilliant, mate.
Fantastic. Patrick, the game itself, it was a disappointing weekend for you last week with the Broncos making 2 wins in the trot for them as they took on your Jets. You must be hoping Devontae Adams can fly in, especially for this one.
The game's got to be won on defense, so it's got to be won on defense. Yeah, I think it was a bit of a tough weekend last weekend. I took the weekend off in preparation for spanking the Vikes. Yeah, I mean, they didn't play well at all last week. You can blame the weather, you can blame this or that next time. Just it was an off day, I think. You know, didn't perform, didn't get in going on the ground, didn't get in going passing game. Just wasn't happening. Defense was looking pretty tidy though. So the key for me is obviously the turnovers and the defense, and whoever comes out on top on that. You know, obviously we know the Jets are building a good defense. The worrying thing last week is obviously if you've seen Rodgers hopping about quite a bit, he got banged up a wee bit. How is he going to be? Obviously going into Sunday. Time will tell. But yeah, like let's see some of the earlier season optimism faded at the weekend there. But normally it fades after week 1, so we at least got to week 4 before.
It faded after about the 3rd snap last season, so
we normally win the pre-season and then that's it. It's all done and dusted after that. No, I thought I really liked it. I think it was a good game. I think the Vikings have they've surprised everyone this year. They've come out the blocks flying. Nobody expected that. Obviously pre-season we were expecting big things from the rookie QB, and then obviously for that injury to happen, I think, you know, Sam Darnold's a bit of a joke figure, has been for years. It just shows you right coaching, right team, and actually these guys can perform. I still not fully bought in on him. I think he might get rattled a wee bit come the weekend. I hope he does. But we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to a good game. I think it'll be really good, interesting game. Top offense against a half decent defense. We should be all right.
Craig, that would be player of the month, Sam Darnold, defensive player of the month, Sam Darnold. That's been leading your team. Has it been a bit of a wee bit of fortune that you've had JJ McCarthy bowing out so early in the season, doing a Rodgers, shall we say?
It's a very weird feeling, this, Keith. I think they call it optimism, It's not something I'm used to as a Vikings fan. It's a very strange
Twice in a
feeling.
year as a Scotland fan as well.
I know. Well, do you know what? I'm being very cautious because I think the last time I felt optimistic about a sporting event was as a Scotland fan going into the Euros, and the less said about that, the better. So yeah, the pre-season build-up with JJ McCarthy, obviously playing a game and then going down with his injury, I really had low expectations as far as the season was going to be. Darnold, he's not had the best of times at the Jets. He didn't have a great time at the Panthers. As Pat said, whether that is purely down to the environment he was in, the coaching that he had, the team and the players surrounding him, he's certainly come into a team where he has good weapons available. We've got a really good defense this year. I think you've got give a lot of credit to Brian Flores on that side of the ball. Offensively, Darnold has looked really composed. He's had time in the ball and he's looked great. I am not, being too optimistic here because I just know at some point there could be some hiccups along the road. This weekend against this Jets team is a prime example of that. I'm not looking into last weekend's game at all. The weather, as Pat said, it was horrific last weekend. Rodgers in his post-game interview said the weather was stinking, but I think he worded it like the weather was stinking, but some of my throws they stunk as well, or something like that. Like, he didn't have a great game, but it was a horrible game to play in. So in London, it's a fairly kind of neutral crowd. The Vikes are the home team, but it's not really a home game. Both on the road. So Jets team, if Rodgers is fully fit, then you never know what could happen on the day. I'm certainly not going to be too optimistic about it, but I do think it's going to be an absolutely cracking game to watch. Really, really interested to see how these two teams play out on Sunday.
Danny, what about some of the key matchups in the game? Justin Jefferson, probably the best wide receiver in the league at the moment, going up against Sauce Gardner, one of the premier, possibly the best cornerbacks in the league presently. That's certainly a tasty one. One I'm really, really looking forward to seeing, because watching these guys on TV, it's pretty incredible, some of the moves that they make to get that bit of separation. But I can't wait to see it in real life, just to see just how quick they are, how much they sell it, because we're football fans, we see it at the FIPA, just how quick players can be, especially when it comes to the Champions League, and you get players like Mbappe and Neymar and all that coming to Scotland, and the speed that they play the game at. This is where I want to see the difference. And players like Jefferson and Sauce Gardner, that's probably one of the key matchups that I'm looking forward to. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, we are going to watch probably the best wide receiver of his generation. He's hands down the best. Possibly, you could say he's the best wide receiver since Randy Moss, another Vikings, chuck him out there, 81. Now, going up against Gardner, I had Sauce down as my possible defensive player of the year, right? So I'm giving him respect, but I can see Jefferson completely cooking him, to be honest. Mm-hmm. He is just that good. You cannot cover him. You cannot keep him down. The form that Darnold's on, it's going to be tricky. These are two top defences. I think fourth and fifth in the league, I think, in points scored or points allowed. We're going up against the very best here, but the form that Darnold's in, not that he can scatter the ball about. Well, he's got an absolute cracking back there in Aaron Jones. Finally, they can establish the run game. They've got Addison, had a cracking game last week. He came out of nowhere. As Smudger was complaining, he left him on his bench and his fancy team. So I think that you were the only one that week. But yeah, as I say, there's. I think just looking at this game, they're all over the place. For me, the big one is, what is the Jets going to do with Breece Hall? That is going to be the big one. If they can establish the run and get that set up, I think they could win with a chance. But some have really, really struggled with this year. They've really been ineffective. A lot of passing. They're going to obviously try and spray it out to Garrett, Wilson and Lazard and such like. But I do think that the upper hand in this goes to the Vikings. I think Brian Flores is an absolute game changer. His defensive knowledge, and again, this is a guy that spent a long time with the Patriots and knows the FC East. He knows the Jets. He's been there. He's played. Had to coach against them. Obviously, not always in the defensive play caller capacity, but he knows what that's like. He knows he's been in the league a long time. Knows Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure he'll be scheming up a plan for him. Kevin O'Connell was just an absolute fantastic offensive mind as well, and it just seems like it's the perfect sort of synergy. Now they've got the perfect team. Now I keep on winding up Smudger. Like, it's the hope that kills you. The bubble's got to burst soon enough, but they're just they seem to be this unstoppable juggernaut now, and it's hard to see, which seems to be an up and down team now in the Jets. What can they actually do? Your man Reddick, what was happening with him? You're not getting after you're just not getting after the quarterback. You can just see Darnold having all day back there just to carve up this Jets defense. So sorry, Patrick, and it may be a bit early for predictions, but I just keep on looking at it, and it's the only way I can kind of see even the matchups. And for all the strengths that the Jets do have, it's just, can they actually show up? Can they deliver? Are you still going to get moody Aaron Rodgers in here, throwing huffs and whatever he's saying to Salah on the touchline, so we just don't know what's going to happen there. So to me, it's, I'm going to hang my hat on the Vikes this one.
Ooh, right, we're going to come to predictions a wee moment, but I just want to know, is Hassan Reddick actually travelled over? Because that would be absolutely terrific if he's holding out from getting a contract with him, but he's decided to make the trip over with the Jets. Okay, Patrick, Robert Saleh up against Kevin O'Connell. Who's going to come out on top in this one?
I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game either. I think there could be like one score in it. I think we keep it tight. If we get to Darnold, I think we might see him seeing ghosts again. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Jets by a score.
Jets by a score. The weather is looking to be a wee bit rainy on Sunday. 2:30 kickoff time for us here. What do you think, Craig? What are you going for this one?
So I'm not looking too much into last week's game for the Jets, but I do wonder, when you look at how the Vikes played in the first half against Green Bay last weekend, and then how they played in the second half, when Green Bay were so far behind, they had to really rush their plays. They had to constantly try and move the ball. They had to take more risks. And the Vikings in the second half, defensively, we were much poorer. And I do wonder if they can hurry, if the Jets can hurry their offense and not give our defense as much time to recover between plays, to try and make the pass rush a little bit less effective, the blitzes less effective, if that's something that might possibly help. Because first half we were absolutely fantastic against Green Bay. I think our defense is very organised, but the problem is the Jets offense has Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. He's not the quickest sometimes. I was reading this week, Pat, you might be able to chip in this one, but Rodgers, he's pre-game snaps and his mannerisms, and there was loads of penalties and stuff last week, like loads of flags before the snap, after snap, false starts, everything else. If Rodgers is trying to hurry that offense, I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to just cause more penalty flags, if that's something that they can effectively do just now, because they're still kind of getting used to Rodgers. He's been there for so long, he's practiced for so long, but in these actual kind of games. But it was something that did stick out last week, was when Green Bay were rushing on offense, we did flap a little bit. And I do think if there's one thing that possibly the Jets could do that might make our defence come unstuck a little, it's potentially that.
It sounds as if you're trying to talk yourself out of a Vikes win here. So you're trying to,
no, absolutely not. Nah. if you want me to hang my hat on a team, you know exactly what team I'm hanging my hat on, Keith. Come on.
What about yourself, Danny? You've mentioned, you alluded there. You think it's going to be a paddling?
I don't know about paddling, because they're still they're a great defense there, right? But I do think that this Brian Flores led defense can give Rodgers fits. And if he starts going in a strop, starts getting huffy, and there's still, comments getting made about his cadence, and the false starts start happening, and the flags are thrown, and I think it could be at least a sort of 10-point victory. I can still see it being. I'd still hammer the under if I was on this one. I still think they're just two good defences, but I just think that they'll be able to get after Rodgers a lot more than Darnold will suffer at the hands of that pretty piss poor defensive line of the Jets. I'm not going back the Jets ever. So
either way, it's going to be a fantastic experience for us. We're really looking forward to getting down. If you're heading down there yourself, let us know, and make sure you tag Irn-Cru in any of your pictures. We're looking forward to seeing them. Say hi if you see us as well. I was mentioning last week I'd get some new Seahawks gear, so I've got a wee jacket. I looked ahead to see what the weather was going to be, so I've got a nice wee over the top fluorescent green Seahawks jumper on to take with me. So looking forward to going. Yes. Excellent. Right, next up then, we are going to have a wee look at the Ravens and the Bengals. Ravens, of course, with a statement win last week against the Buffalo Bills. I think everybody was expecting it to be a lot closer than what it ended up. 35-10 to the Ravens, and they just ran the Bills into the ground in this one. Danny, what do you make of the Ravens so far this season?
Take a wee minute just to get warmed up. Getting Derek Henry settled in. They've got a new defensive coordinator in there, and they're now starting to cook. You can now start to see, that what they did last week was it Monday night? I think it was against the Bills. That's no easy feat. That's a good Bills team. A lot of people had written them off at the start of the year, but that's still a good Bills team now. The way that they can move the ball, they are the powerhouse we thought they were going to be. That they've basically that twin-headed Russian monster there between Lamar and Derek Henry, just absolutely powered their way through. They're the number one scoring fifth scoring offense, but number one for yards, and that's just got to continue in this one. I don't see how any team can contain them when they're on the move. They are just this juggernaut that's just got to smash through it. And then, as I say, Lamar, again, he's making better reads, making better choices when passing the ball. As I say, it's been a slow, sluggish start. I had backed them at the start of the year to be the dominant force in the AFC, and I'm pretty confident in that prediction. I'm starting to really see them ramp up.
Certainly was. They've been unlucky. It's been a game of inches, as they all say, especially in that first game with Isaiah Likely's toe being the difference between getting either forcing the game to overtime or even getting the win if they'd went for two in that matchup. So, as you said, taking a wee while to get up and running, to get started, but Lamar's just come off an MVP season. He's slimmed down, and I think we're seeing that he's lost that wee bit of baggage. He's freeing them up to get those yards. This is the Lamar that we love to watch, when he just feels free to launch it, to throw the ball, but also able to absolutely sucker punch you with those runs as well. Patrick, what about the Bengals? Always off to a slow start at the beginning of the season. They don't tend to like August, but it kind of blew into September as well this year. What do you think of the...
What do I think of the Bengals?
Yeah, go for it.
I think they've missed their window. I think they're on the decline. So they do. I don't see them as a big team. To be honest with you, I don't see them as sort of one of the challengers of the AFC anymore. A few years back, yeah, absolutely. And they're in their pomp, absolutely. Burrow, obviously, I know he's been plagued to injuries this past year and a bit. Doesn't look the same quarterback just now, in my opinion. They say they are slow starters, but I've not been impressed to date. Obviously, with the whole issue of the Chase contract and all the rest of it, and whether or not there've been a bit of a distraction as well for the offense. But I look across the team now, and I think they're considerably weaker than where they were a year ago, 2 years ago. So I think, whilst you're right, there might be a slow start, and they still have got some considerable weapons on that team. I don't see them as one of the big boys in the AFC, and I think the AFC, whilst it's a bit of a roller coaster start to the year so far for quite a lot of the teams, I think when we're sort of 10, 12 games down the stretch, I don't think they'll be in consideration. And I think if we look at that AFC North, and we used to think that was such a competitive division with obviously the Ravens, the Bengals, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. I don't think so anymore. I don't think that's the case with it at all anymore. I don't think that's a pillar.
Stu, absolutely. Stu had been mentioning all summer long and the run up to the season starting, Smudger, that the Bengals' run defense was just non-existent in the first couple of weeks. That certainly was the case, but last week they seemed to get their act together. They seemed to actually put up a bit of a stronghold there. Do you think that and Joe Burrow actually starting to get into his rhythm again can maybe see a way that the Bengals can actually turn it around a little bit? Or are you like Patrick, you think that's their, we always talk about the Bills window on the Gridiron Crew, but is that the Bengals, is their time up?
Yeah, I've not been entirely convinced by the Bengals so far this season. They have got off to a really poor start, which is not unusual for them, but last week, they get a win last week. It's against the Panthers, who themselves had a terrible start. And okay, they've had a little bit of a revival under the Red Rifle himself, but they're still not a terrific team. So yes, the Bengals get a win, but they're still bottom of the division at the moment, and I don't really see anything other than in that division, Baltimore going from strength to strength. I think the Bengals will struggle. I don't see them, towards the later half of this season being in playoff contention or anything like that. Joe Burrow has shown that he's a good quarterback, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking. I don't know what the solution is. They have lost some key players. Like you've now got Mixon is away at the Texans.
Tyler Boyd.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with Pat and where he places the Bengals is they're not the powerhouse that they were. They're not the Super Bowl contenders that they were a couple of seasons back. And the cycle will probably go back around again. But for the AFC North, it's the Ravens look as if they are probably going to eventually take a really strong grip of that division.
Sorry, I'm going to step in there. I think these are blowing it out of the water. Right, week one, right, they didn't have T. Higgins. Jamar Chase had held out all week. Burrow's coming off his injury, right, and week one, anything can happen. Then they lose by a point to Kansas. They're in Super Bowl champions with the help of some flag-friendly refs. Getting beat off with Washington.
As always.
A record-breaking offense starting this year, right? They're no mugs. That's a good Washington team. They can do that to just about anybody in this league. And then they start to find their groove. They're getting T. Higgins back. They beat up in a Panthers team. I just don't know. I think it's too premature to rule them out yet. Just wait and see how this odd division plays out. Browns don't look much a big shaker or anything like that. They've got their struggles. They've got to play them twice. We'll see what happens with the Steelers. Now, obviously, they're winning, but it's not in any great style. So you never know. Just don't rule them out just yet, right? So just as long as you've got Joe Burrow there and you can keep him healthy and upright, and he can throw to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they've got a shot in any game.
I think one of the things that's going to help Burrow is the fact that Zach Moss and Chase Brown are starting to help their game a wee bit as well. To give them that threat with the run game too. Chase Brown, of course, a Canadian running back, Stu's been trumpeted all year long. I think that's what we're looking for, something to give them that extra option there. So I think the Bengals aren't quite out of this yet. What about the Ravens? Are they early Super Bowl contenders, or is it far too early for us to be talking about that, Craig?
There's only one purple team, Keith, that's going to be a Super Bowl contender this season. See, you know what I said about optimism? I'm not doing it. Yeah. The Ravens.
One can he's had.
I know. The Ravens, their ground game pre-season, when you saw that they were going to have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, you just thought these guys are just going to run the rock continually, absolutely dominate teams on the ground. They've got other weapons there though, like they likely had a couple of great games as well, and if he can continue to progress, I think the Ravens. I'm not saying Super Bowl contenders or anything like that. I think they're in one of the kind of top tiers, certainly. But I'm trying to think who I would place them level with. You know what I mean? Like at the moment, like I think certainly the two purple teams at the moment, I would put on that high tier.
Just having a quick look at to see if there is any breaking news from the Baltimore Ravens or the Bengals as we're recording just now, but it popped up there, and we mentioned Devontae Adams a wee bit earlier on, but Ravens is a possible destination, a possible landing spot for Adams. How much of a difference maker do you think that could be, Patrick, to Lamar Jackson having such a talented wide receiver like that? Because he's got Zay Flowers just now, who's he's needing to do a wee bit more, but to have someone with that experience and that dominance, like Devontae Adams, that'd be something special for the Ravens to get.
It would be. You'd think it would be certainly on paper, but then obviously, if he's got a full off season to train with the team and work with them and learn the positions and learn the routes and all the rest of it with that team and that learn the cadence of that QB, then absolutely. But to come into a game maybe week 5, week 6, going to a team week 5, week 6 and hit the ground running, I don't know if it would necessarily have that immediate impact. Certainly if you're talking about a playoff team and sort of further on in the season, certainly could have that impact. But if you're looking at it from regular season, and obviously all of us daft fantasy owners and stuff like that, I don't know if it would necessarily have that immediate impact of, he's going to be a world day or anything like that team. I think it'll take time to settle. The other thing as well is obviously Zay Flowers is doing really well. Obviously, what is he, second year, third year now of his career. I actually like the fact there's no big egos in that team in the offense. Again, a big name like Adams coming in could potentially upset the apple cart type thing there. I don't know. They seem to have a really good unit there just now. Like Danny mentioned earlier, slow start, but they're growing, and you see it obviously over this past 4 weeks. They've obviously been up in the reps of Henry and stuff like that. But even then, obviously, they can sub him out, and the guy who's it, Justice Hill. I mean, he's a more than capable substitute to go in for him as well, as he's proven so far. I think Adams is coming to the Jets. Don't worry about it. There's going to be a 3-way deal happening. Apparently, Reddick's going to Atlanta as part of it, and Vegas are getting multiple sort of late round picks. That's what I've heard from my source.
Your sources, nice.
Me and Pelicero were on the phone. I was actually going to come on with my shirt and tie on, so I was reporting.
There we go. We could be the Scottish equivalent to the insiders, the outsiders.
Nice. Rank outsiders. He's going to benefit any team he goes to. If he goes to a team, I just don't think it'll happen immediately.
Good. Right. Let's get predictions in quickly from you. Daniel, who is winning this one? Ravens, Bengals?
Ravens.
Patrick?
Ravens.
And Craig?
Absolutely. Ravens by at least a couple of scores.
Yeah, I think so. The way players like Kyle Hamilton's been playing just now this season, I think the defense is what this is going to be built upon. So that's a clean sweep for the Ravens. Congratulations to the Bengals and your surprise win on Monday morning then. Next up, we're heading to the Lone Star State of Texas to see the Bills take on the Houston Texans. Bills, of course, were beaten last week by the Ravens, and the Texans left it late to dispose of the Jaguars that were playing last week, wasn't it? So they were looking forward to coming back after a beating the week before for the Texans. They were needing that wee boost there for them. Okay, what do we think of this game then? Craig, I'll come to you first then. You can choose where you want to start with this one, Bills or Texans. What's going to happen here?
Okay, I'll go Texans, because we played the Texans a couple of weeks ago in a game that everyone had kind of touted as was going to be like a massive test, and we'll really see what the Vikings were made of when we played the Texans. They bounced back and they beat the Jags last week. This Bills game could be really, really important for the Texans. They're sitting 3-1. They've got a really solid start so far, and this is a team that last year everybody loved watching, massively entertaining team to watch. And this year, like, they've got strength now in the wide receiver core. You get guys like Ty Dale back. You had Stephon Diggs coming in. You were wondering what the kind of balance was going to be like. What was CJ Stroud going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to feed all this talent and keep everybody happy? But so far, he's really just picked up where he left off last year. And okay, there was that game against us where they did really struggle. I think defensively, we played an absolute blinder against the Texans, and it was, a blowout in what should have been a really close game. But other than that, I think the Texans, they've come back and they've got a win. Maybe not the most convincing of wins against Jacksonville, but they have the talent there. This is going to be a massive test, especially against a Bills team that are hurting after a bit of a beatdown against the Ravens. So, yeah, I'm really excited to watch this one. It'll be good to see this on Red Zone later on after we've watched the Vikes beating the Jets. It's going to be fantastic to tune into this one as well. Really looking forward to it. They might. I don't know. Has there been any update on Mixon? Like, I've got Mixon in one of my fantasy teams, and he's been like, his status is so up and down. Like, is he going to play? Is he still injured? Can they find some more of the running game as well? I think that balance would definitely help them. I'm just looking. He's still listed as questionable. Pierce is listed as questionable as well. So, but I think if they can try and get their healthy running backs together as well to balance that out, that would still be a huge help for the Texans.
They've also got, of course, Cam Akers can come in, cover for Mixon a wee bit there. So Damien Pierce, I don't know if he's still injured. He had a bit of a disappointing season last year. Wonder if this will be a chance for him to maybe up. Ogumbo Wally got a touchdown last week, which was quite good to see. He'd been needing that. Danny, what about the Bills then? Josh Allen's team kind of took a bit of a hiding last week against the Ravens, surprisingly so. But when you think of some of the injuries that they've had, Matt Milano, of course, being out, Stephon Diggs leaving the team, that focal point of your attack, they have done really well at the start of this season. Khalil Shakir has been terrific for them. Is it James
Cook?
Cook has really took massive steps forward this season as well. So I think it was a bit of a surprise just how well they've settled into this season. But then to get the beating that they got from the Ravens, it was kind of bringing them back down to earth big time. What do you think how do you think they're going to bounce back this week against the Texans?
I think this one is going to be difficult to fully predict until we actually know who's healthy. Now, we know Bills are banged up, but like Shakir, I think, was injured. I don't think he practiced earlier in the week. That's how James Cook's going to do. And again, I think a lot is going to be what kind of team goes out for the Texans. I think Tank Dell's injured, Mixon's injured, Pierce injured. It's pretty banged up. So how it shakes out. Now, the Bills, you say getting ready an ego isn't a bad thing, particularly an aging kind of player like that. And, and he's not going to be wide receiver one either nowadays. He was always like complaining when he was with the Bills, he wasn't getting the amount of targets he was desiring, and obviously was taking a bit of strop, and now he's moved on, and, he's still not got to be wide receiver one there. But I think it's just balanced out that team. But the trouble is, for me, they're still too heavy and too dependent on Josh Allen and his talents now, and what a talent he is. Defensively, again, they've had a lot of people move on over the kind of course of the last couple of seasons, or Poyer or what was his name? Brain fart, forget, move on. But obviously Milano is out, and White, obviously their cornerbacks moved on. And this one I think is really going to boil down to, if Mixon is fit, I can see the Texans are running right through them, to be honest. I think they're just too strong, too well coached, great both sides of the ball. But the Bills, I think we've just got to kind of wait and see with that final injury, who's active, who's inactive, and who actually plays. Again, would never write them off. There's as long as they've got Josh Allen, they're always going to be in with a shout. But I just think too many injuries maybe stacking up for them. And again, having lost a bit of talent during the off-season, all it takes is one or two of these key pieces just to get injured, and they're just starting to struggle a wee bit. So I'm putting a wee pin in it now until we actually see come Sunday, or is it Sunday they're playing? How the teams actually shake out. But definitely an interesting game. I think this is the one that you really want to be watching. There's some fantastic lineups there and really interesting matchups between the teams.
We're talking about Stephon Diggs having left the Bills, Patrick, and Khalil Shakir has really stepped up. He showed be flashes towards the end of last season, being a great deep ball threat for the Josh Allen there. I was looking at how many yards that the players have. I'd heard that a stat earlier in the week, and I was just checking it up. And Nico Collins is currently leading the NFL with 489 yards from 43 targets and 30 receptions. The most that you've got from the Bills so far is 230 to Khalil Shakir. Just ahead of him, though, is Stephon Diggs, 233. So you can see there's two Texans players that are making more of a difference, getting more yards than any of the Bills have. But the Bills have been battling through. They've been tight. James Cook, as we said, is making a difference there. How much do you think the running game's going to be the difference maker for the Bills, or do you think that Josh Allen and James Cook are going to be the ones that are really going to have to pound the Texans to get anything out of this game?
I think with Josh Allen, you've got a cheat code. I mean, so anything's possible. I think, they had a great start to the season, obviously going 3-0. Truth be told, I don't really think they faced any great teams, though. I don't think they had a great challenge. Obviously, they had a relatively straightforward start if you think about the Cardinals. Then, obviously, the Dolphins are on their knees. And then the Jags, obviously, they blew out the Jags quite easily. Ravens was the first team I think they really played, and they struggled big time against the run. So if Mixon's fit, I agree with what Danny says. I think Mixon will run right through them. I can't see them stopping them. But there's such a threat coming from everywhere on that Texan side. You mentioned Mixon if he's fit. You mentioned Nico Collins as the lead receiver. You've got Stephon Diggs there with a point to prove against his old team. I don't know, is Tank Dell coming back? Is he fit and ready to go yet? But obviously, what a breakout season he had last year before he went down. They've got three guys there now, and obviously you've got CJ Stroud with the freedom to throw. So there's threats all over the park there. Whereas with the Bills, you're like, it's Josh Allen. James Cook's good at running. Yeah, he is. He's good to run back. But, is that sustainable? Shakir's done okay. I've got big hopes for the boy Coleman, the rookie Coleman. I think he'll come good. So I do. I hope he comes good. I've got him in some dynasty leagues, so I've got some stakes in them there. So I do. I think he will come good at some point, especially with Josh Allen. But
just a nice big guy, isn't he? He sounds like just a nice big genuine guy.
But what the guys have said, though, I mean, a couple of injuries, and I think their season's finished. I don't think they've got that strength and depth. And heaven forbid if anything happens to Allen, I think they're done. I think you just hand the Jets to the FC East. I mean, because everybody else is absolutely honking and we're just not as bad. I don't think it'll necessarily come down to the run game. I think if the Texans have Mixon fit, then it could do absolutely. I don't think the Bills are really going to threaten other than through potentially just the running of Josh Allen. But I think probably this is the best game of the weekend on paper. This could be the best. And I'm not going to start saying this is, I know obviously you've talked about it loads before throughout the years. This is the Bills' windows over and stuff like that. They're certainly not as good as what they were. They certainly don't have the strength and depth. But they've got a team capable of performing on their day still.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say the only one thing, just to throw a spanner in the works, even Mixon's fit. I think the big one in here as well was Laramie Tunsil. Was injured and wasn't practicing early in the week as well, and obviously that can seriously impact their ability to pass and run the ball. So that'll be one to watch for.
Listen, anything happens to Allen, they've got Mitch Trubisky to come in, so they're absolutely flying all year long. Don't worry about that. Okay, predictions then for this one. Patrick, you start us off.
If people are fit, I'll go Texans by quite a few, actually.
Ooh. Danny?
I'm going for like a 23-24 Texans.
Tight one. Craig?
I think this could be a pretty high scoring game. I think it's going to be entertaining to watch. I'm going to go Texans as well.
You know what? I'm going to go Bills then. I'm going to go for the Bills for this one. Like he says, it's Josh Allen. He just works miracles at times. So I'm going to go for Josh Allen for this one then. Right, that's the main games that we've been looking at for this part of the season. We're going to do some quick fire calls now with some of the rest of the games. So starting with tonight's matchup, we've got the Bucks at the Falcons. Baker's been baking again last week at the wee off day the week before, but he was back to some of his best football. It's nice that he's got a happy home, as we always say, but could he make a wee upset at Mercedes Field there for against the Falcons? Danny, I'll come to you. Sorry, I'm just leaving that up there, just hanging it up there. Danny, I'll come to you first for this one.
Primetime Baker against Primetime Cousins, 100% taking Primetime Baker. He's going to ball out. That's what I'm going for in this one. Just as a quick fire, right in there, boom. No messing about.
Patrick?
I actually like the Falcons this year. I know it's been an up and down start, but I like the Falcons. I think they'll come good in the end, and it starts the early hours of the morning.
Ooh. Craig, is this one worth staying up for?
I think it could be good fun. Yeah. Baker's been playing.
Dead convinced with that high pitched voice there, mate. That was
I know that would have been that high, doesn't it? Baker has, as you say, Baker's been baking. He's been absolutely tremendous. I think Kirk will find his feet. He always gets stick for primetime games, and he's still finding his feet in Atlanta. But they've come off an arrow win and a wee bit of a high. So let's go with they're going to keep the momentum going and a home win.
Oh, do you know I'm going for that as well. I like the Bucks. I like Baker. I like what they do there, but no, I think Falcons are just starting to get. They're reminding me a little bit of the Texans and the changes that are going on there. Maybe even the bit heartening for you, Danny, to see just how quickly it can turn around at teams like the Texans. Hopefully with the Falcons as well for your Patriots. So yeah, I'm going to go for the Falcons for this one. All right. Next up, then we are heading to Soldier Field as the Carolina Panthers, the Andy Dalton inspired Carolina Panthers, and take on the Chicago Bears. Smudger, you start us off with this one.
At Soldier Field, I'm still leaning Bears. I think they've had a little bit of a revival with the change at quarterback, the Panthers, but still not a great outfit. They're not a great team. They have really, really struggled. I think the Bears, as the season goes on, will start to get some momentum. It's taking Caleb Williams a few games to find his stride, but he's a massively, massively talented quarterback. I think the Bears will win out in this one.
To be expected, Danny, with a rookie quarterback. This is he's probably doing on a par with where you'd be expecting. He's not outperforming expectations like Daniels is with the Commanders. He seems to be just going along. He's shown a few flashes of brilliance there. It's just it's building slowly, but you kind of want with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, it's situational. You know, I think Daniel's in a much better position, you know, with Cliff Kingsbury and much better weapons around about him. But yeah, he's doing all right. Caleb's doing fine. He's starting to build, getting a better. The key thing for me that's really helped him is Swift. The breakout of him last week, you know, having an established run game again takes the pressure off your rookie QB. Actually, do something here. I think it's an absolute great week to go up against Panthers, although the Red Rifle has elevated them considerably, I think they're going to continue. I can see a wee bit of momentum starting to build here for the Bears.
Okay. Patrick, one wee spanner in the works it might be, we're talking about the run game for the Bears. Chuba Hubbard is really turning up for the Panthers. Can you see a slight upset there with the Panthers maybe going to Soldier Field and doing something?
Potentially. You never know. They've got better every week. Every week they played. Week one was a blowout, obviously against the Saints, and obviously they get beat off the Chargers and they get beat off Raiders. But every time it's getting closer and closer. This could be their week. I think the guys have already covered it. Chicago's obviously in a transition stage just now. They've made a huge amount of changes. It's going to take them a wee bit of time to bed that in, and they'll come good. Yeah. I think they'll come great. I think they'll be a good size for a long time to come. But they're not there yet. They're far from there yet. So actually, the Panthers are probably looking at it this week and thinking that's a good size for us to have this week as well. So I've got a wee sneaky suspicion they might actually pull one off this week. I think they're due a win. I'll go with them.
Okay. There we go. Right, next up then. Just quickly then. So you're going for Panthers, Patrick, Bears, Danny, and Bears Smudger.
Yep.
Right, I'll go Chuba Hubbard's enticing fellow redhead in the Red Rocket. Do you know what? I'm going to go for the
Bears.
I'll go for the Bears. Yeah, the Bears. Roma Dunsy's going to get a couple of touchdowns in this one there. So, there we go. Okay, next up we have the Browns travelling to Washington to take on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels, the VR headset wearing Supremo is playing at 1.6 speed, so that when it comes to game time, everything is just like the Matrix to him. Patrick, what have you made of Daniel's breakout in the past few games?
He started well, hasn't he? He's looked good.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well. Well, I know obviously they'd say this after the draft anyway, but apparently they're always their number one choice. They were always after him. They weren't interested in Williams at all. I like him. He looks good, but I'm worried about a lot of these new QBs. I think, especially the running ones. I think, I fear for their health. I don't think they're going to last very long. So I genuinely fear for the boy. But just now he looks great. He looks brilliant. And obviously what impact he's having on the Commanders team just now, they're actually really exciting to watch. So I've actually really I've enjoyed watching some of their games. Browns, on the other hand, have been very brown. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't like them. Yeah, they don't really have that threat for me anymore. I'd say I'd touched on the AFC North earlier on. Either not the power league it once was, and I think the Browns are on the slide. So for me, I'm going Commanders.
Commanders it is. But Daniel?
Easy Commanders win this one. Daniel's far too good, as I mentioned earlier. Just a great situation in there. McLaurin's finally got a capable QB. He's going through his reads quickly. They just look a complete team. Browns, on the other hand, are an absolute farce, shambles. Get them in the bin. I don't like watching them. I think this could be the week, though, that they finally do the right thing and bench Watson, get Jameson, make it interesting. He's got to go for it every time. He's got to have 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and it's going to be a mad game all over the place. That's what I want to see. Make it happen, Browns.
I was listening to one of the podcasts earlier on today, and we were talking about Jaden Daniels and just how well he's been doing, and the completion percentages that he's had is ridiculously high. But he's only had 1 interception. He's protecting the ball as well, so it's not as if he's just fluffing it, just trying to up his scores and that. He's actually making difficult plays and difficult throws, and he's protecting the ball.
Yeah, that punt team's getting easy money. The punt team's getting easy money the past few weeks, haven't they? They've not been on the field.
Absolutely. I think he's got the most first downs as well out of all the QBs in the league as well. Terrific start to the season. But as Danny was saying there, Smudger, the Browns, I think, until they get rid of Watson, that is just a stain on their name. Nobody's really going to be getting behind them. Nobody's going to be wanting them to win. Even their fans, Brian of the podcast, he stomachs what he's actually watching just now, but I don't think he's truly enjoying his team. and it's a shame. Although Chubb, I think, has been reactivated. Knee feels good, but he's unsure of a return date. That is the little glimmer of hope for Brian and his fellow Browns fans to look forward to this season.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a healthy Nick Chubb, he is an absolutely phenomenal running back. And yeah, it gives the Browns that little glimmer of optimism there. Watson's start to the season has been far from convincing. He's been all over the place. Absolutely nothing like the Watson that played for the Texans many seasons ago. He's such a massive burden financially and everything else on that organisation. And I do feel for Brian a little bit. He's still a Browns fan, so he's only himself to blame, really. But yeah, I don't see the Browns being able to step up against this revitalised Washington team. It just shows you, like, if you get a quarterback that's playing with confidence, then like a rookie season goes, the Commanders really, I can see going from strength to strength, but they've also got a few kind of more established players in there. Like they've brought Eckler in, which was quite an interesting addition to the run game. Just Washington, there's a lot to be positive about there. There's that optimism and positivity even about them. I think they will be too strong for the Browns. They seem disorganised. They don't seem to be. They seem to be still not playing as a team. It's still individuals. And Watson, I don't feel it's always whenever he, like, his interview, just the way he comes across, it's just, you can't. He's not a guy you can root for. Sorry, he's just not. And I will absolutely be rooting for Washington in this game, and I don't see it being anything other than a Washington win, to be honest.
Absolutely. Dan Quinn's doing a good job with the team there, and I think their defence is a lot stronger than people were maybe expecting at this stage in his tenure with the team. So possibly seeing just how effective he was with the Cowboys, taking a wee bit of a slump as well over there. Okay, next up then we have the Raiders at the Broncos. Broncos again, 2 wins in the trot there, up to 2-2. Raiders just hit and miss. It seems as if it's burn it down start again with Devante Adams being shopped around with the teams all over the place. Patrick, I'll start with yourself there. What you think of this game there? You, of course, had the benefits of seeing the Denver Broncos last week. Tough team that Peyton's got there. Players like Patrick Surtain is just an absolute menace against any offense.
Yeah, but I think that this is really a toss of the coin game. I don't see either of them being strong, one, or two, a very good watch either. Like, I think it'll be really sort of close in that game, probably single digit figures. And I'd imagine the Broncos defence will stop Raiders and what they're doing. Is Minshew still starting as quarterback of the Raiders, or have they changed that out yet? I know there's talk of it.
There's not been anything official to say that. Was it Noah O'Connell? Who's there? Is
it O'Connell? I think so.
That's O'Connell. Yeah, Aidan O'Connell.
Yeah,
Aidan O'Connell. AOC. Yep. Nothing official yet that I've seen.
Yeah, I just think the Broncos are better organised. And whilst they're not entertaining to watch, they'll grind it out.
Crosby, of course, notorious for playing every snap. The past couple of weeks, he's had to sit at the sidelines for a few. It sounds as if it's starting to go a wee bit south for the Raiders, Danny. I'm surprised. I thought Antonio Pierce was going to get more out of them for a wee bit longer. Zamir White was one of the players that I'd heavily tipped and hoped would do well for my fantasy teams, and I'm looking like an absolute plum with the low scores that I'm getting off of him this year.
You never look like a plum, mate. Don't worry. No, he might still come good. I don't trust the Raiders. There's just nothing about the team I particularly have any confidence or faith in. That goes from ownership all the way through the decisions they make. You know, the fact that Antonio Pierce is on Instagram lighting things about, Devontae Adams playing his last. What message does that put out to a team? Devontae Adams is going to have friends in that locker room. Does that, turn them off? Does that? Sorry, but that's what I mean there.
Yeah.
They become disillusioned by that sort of franchise. And again, for me, this game is, I've got more confidence in Sean Payton getting a tune out of Bo Nix and actually growing it. And again, this is another good opportunity if Crosby's not quite at it, not quite fit. How will that go? So again, probably Patrick, I think this one's got a game I'm going to be happy just seeing Red Zone or catch the 6-minute highlights or whatever it is in NFL.com the next day. I don't see this being a classic at all, but I do see Denver winning it. I think they'll win it relatively comfortable. I think Bo Nix will continue to grow, and yeah, that's what I'm putting on Denver to win this one.
Are you the same, Smudger?
Yeah, if this was match of the day, it'd be one of the kind of shitey games at the end that you wanted that much emotion. I think come Sunday, you'll kind of. I'll be surprised if Scott Hansen commits more than like a couple of minutes to this game, either half. He's gonna be like, "We'll get right." He'll be like, "We'll get right to you on the Broncos game against the Raiders as soon as there's anything exciting that happens," and you'll just be sitting waiting there when there's anything exciting going to happen there. The Raiders they're struggling as an organisation. They can't run the ball particularly well. Mattison's really struggled. He was poor last season. Now the Raiders doesn't seem to be doing much better. Stanley said when your head coach is doing stuff like that, it's not a very classy look, and you can understand why the optics are not great from an organisation point of view. The Raiders do seem a little bit in disarray. I think there could end up at some point being a pretty hefty rebuild required there. So I think the Broncos will find a way to win this. I don't think it will be a classic, but fully agree. I just think there's enough savvy in that Broncos coaching team to get a win here. And Nix he's a work in progress. He is a talent. So let's see what we can do in this game.
I called it a couple of weeks ago with the Broncos to get their first win. I think they're going to continue this and a surge up the tables there with their third win on the trot this weekend. Okay, last week the Cardinals got an absolute paddling off the Commanders, 42-14. They are travelling to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers. Danny, 49ers, you saw them firsthand last week with a 13 win over your Patriots. As you mentioned, the 49ers just now, they've been riddled with injuries at times, but seem to be still powering on.
Yeah, they're a class act, I'm going to say. They're a good football team, well coached, strength and depth. When you lose Christian McCaffrey, which could be for a season or another kind of few months yet, they've just next man up. And it doesn't matter who it is, they've just got strength right through the team, defensively, offensively. Kyle Shanahan just doing the things that he does. I think CMC, essentially, if he can get by the first half of this year, is only going to stand in good stead come the tail end of this year. Yeah, I think they're a really, really classy outfit. Again, got their struggles. Again, I found the start to the season just generally has been a bit slow, a bit sluggish. Teams aren't quite at it, and maybe that's a bigger picture to do with them not taking pre-season seriously and just getting people up to speed. Lots of injuries like that happening, but this week 5, you're starting to see the cream starting to rise to the top, and I do expect to see the 49ers continue to ramp up there and stay up there.
Kittle made a reappearance last week, Patrick, and got a touchdown in the game. A big time player for them. Do you think the 49ers are just slowly, gradually starting to build their way up? Brock Purdy has been fantastic again. I think all the Mr. Irrelevant chat, we can do away with that now. He is a quality NFL quarterback, and he just seems to be growing into the role, taking more difficult shots for his team because he's getting that wee bit of, not arrogance, he's just getting that callousness about him now. So they've just got stacked with fantastic players all over the place. How can
they're stacked with fantastic players all over the place because he has contract deal that he's got because he is Mr. Irrelevant. So when he needs paid, then that's when they're going to have to make some sacrifices. So not only has he done brilliant, and yeah, he doesn't deserve that tag of Mr. Irrelevant. He's also a cracking team player because obviously he's allowed the team to strengthen through that contract. That's been such a great find for them and such a great development opportunity for him to then obviously allow the team to grow and allow the team to prosper during this time. They're stacked everywhere. They are absolutely stacked. And they've had their troubles to start the year. Also talk about CMC. Debo Samuel's obviously been down for a while too. Ajax, no done anything so far. But Joanne Jennings steps up. The boy Mason at running back comes in. It's just next guy off the line. They just do it. So yeah, I think they're just getting started. They've just been purring along slowly so far, but they're just going to ramp up as the season goes on. Well coached and proper class act team.
What about the Cardinals then? I think Trey McBride, is he still injured? I think that I've seen something that he might be out. I'll just check that then now. But
still questionable, Keith.
Yeah, they're a team that's gradually becoming just a wee outsider, kind of like the Texans were last year. They've got some really, really good players, and they're exciting to watch. Can you see them doing anything against the 49ers though, Craig?
I don't see it. I think the 49ers they've got so much depth there. I like watching Kyler Murray. He's one of these quarterbacks that he's so mobile and he can produce moments of magic and he's really entertaining. But he's going to be really up against this 49ers defense, against this team. In Levi Stadium, it's going to be a really, really tough ask. I don't see the Cardinals having enough. And to Pat's point about Purdy and Mr. Irrelevant and the fact that he's got all these weapons and the fact that they're able to pay all these other people, like when are teams going to learn this? When you look at quarterbacks getting paid so much money, your Dak Prescott's and they're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, but have 0 Super Bowls or even Super Bowl appearances to show for it. Whereas when you get other quarterbacks that are willing to take that lesser pay deal, they can see the big picture. Okay, every quarterback's going to have their payday at some point, but the bigger picture here, when you're only as good as the weapons you've got to throw to. You can have a fantastic quarterback, but if they go down and the whole thing falls like a house of cards, look at the Dolphins. They've, as soon as Tua's going to house of cards completely falling down. Now that a lot of that might be down to coaching. I don't know. We talked about the Bills earlier on and what would happen to the Bills if Josh Allen went down. This Niners team, if Purdy did go down, not that we'd want him to, but it's just like you were saying, next man up. The scheme that they play just works, and that's all down to say great coaching, Shanahan, and everything else is. They're just going to be too strong a team. The Cardinals, they're not going to come away with anything from this. I can't see it happening.
You're just excited to see Joshua Dobbs again if Brock Purdy does go down. So
Joshua Dobbs will be good for 1 week, like he was when he played for us. That's
memorize the playbook in like 5 seconds, but then be gash after that. Okay, so 49ers. I'm going to go for Cards and that. I just can't go for 49ers for some reason. Absolutely sickens me even think about it. So no, I'll go for Cards for that one then. James Conner, got to run right. There we go. Boom. Okay, where are we? We're down to Cardinals 49ers. So guys, we've got another 7 games to go. Let's fly through these. And Packers Rams. Just a wee quick one then for that one. Danny?
Packers win this one. Rams to beat up.
Think so. Yeah. Patrick?
Yeah, same. Real shameful for the Rams. Good side, but yeah, just pattern injuries.
You got to swallow your pride here and go for Packers there, Swidger?
I have to. I think the Packers are a dangerous team. We were fortunate that the missed field goals last week. The Packers could have easily won that game, especially when they played second half. I think the Packers will win. I think they will beat the Rams, even at SoFi. So, yeah, pains me to say it, but yeah, no, Packers win for me in this one.
Fantastic. I'll go for I'm going to go Packers that one too. Next up, we have the Giants at the Seahawks. Seahawks still struggling with defensive injuries, which cost us against the Lions because Geno Smith is absolutely balling just now. And we have a player that we mentioned earlier, but Sam Darnold and QBs like that have been around the league in different places, have experienced it there, and finally getting their chance to show all that they've learned and just how comfortable they can be. And Geno doing absolutely wonders there. It was amazing to see Kenny Walker, the third back as well. That made a big difference to us. Charbonnet's just not quite cutting it yet, but KW3 was just, that was the dual threat that we were needing there. We had the running back threat and we had DK who's just starting to rise again this season. So terrific. Yeah, I'm going to go Seahawks for this one, surprisingly. Yeah, shocker, innit? Danny, what about your Giants at Seahawks? You getting neighbours involved in this one?
I'm actually. It kind of pains me to say it, but Daniel Jones is very limited in what he can do, but he's actually surrounded by a good cast.
That's only throw to neighbours.
It works, you know, and if
it does.
And if banged up like you're saying, why not? Again, this one I do generally think this was one of these games that can go either way. I do think the Seahawks are good. They're looking good, playing really well. Gino, you're saying playing out his mind now. The Giants are actually a good team. It's just Daniel Jones. You have no idea what you're getting with him. You don't know. Again, we had a bit of blather with our Giants friend Murdo there about, you know, stats that they worked, you know, but he's having to target neighbours so much and it's all put through him. Is anybody else actually going to step up for them and actually going to help the team out?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know what? I'm going to go Giants just for a laugh. Why not?
Well, it might be another couple of years before we see you back on the podcast.
Let's see if I can join you then, Diane. I actually think his neighbour's not on concussion protocol. Is he going to be fit? I'm pretty sure he went down in concussion last week. But they played early doors. I think they played Thursday night, so the 10-day window. So I don't know if he's going to be ready or not to play. If Neighbours plays, then obviously it's a different proposition with the Giants, I think. Seahawks have obviously started really well this year. I never actually expected much of Gino, I'll be honest with you. I thought Sam Howell would be the QB by like sort of week 7-8. So Gino surprised me. They have started well. If Neighbours is fit, I'm going Giants, so.
Neighbours and Singletary, the injuries that are keeping the Giants up just now. I can't see anything. He's still in the protocol, said Coach Brian Dable. So there's a good chance Darius Slayton might be one of the ones that they'll have to go to instead. So I'll rest easy if that is the case. Okay, right, good. Thank you very much for that one. Then Cowboys at the Steelers for this one. Then Smudgeon, you start us off in this one, please.
Where do you start with Dallas? I mean, honestly, it just seems to be like any bad decision from either a coaching perspective, a management perspective, just everything is going badly wrong, the Cowboys at the moment. I'm really looking forward to getting my friend Dirk's perspective as a suffering Cowboys fan when he's over on Sunday, just to see what he makes of it all. They've just it's the same every season. You know, you think that will the Cowboys do anything different than what they've done season after season after season? No, they've started exactly as you would expect them to be so unpredictable. Really shambolic at times. So I'm not overly hopeful for them in this matchup. Let's say that.
I think you're being a wee bit unfair. They're usually this bad when it comes to the postseason. So they usually do well in the regular season. It's usually this gas.
They're ahead of the curve this time. They're saving the disappointment for early on in the season.
Danny, what about the Steelers then? Justin Fields has shown that he is a more than serviceable quarterback. Patrick mentioned being a bit worried about the running QBs. He's another one that just seems to be doing maybe a wee bit too much, but he's shown that in the right situation, he is more than capable.
Yeah, he surprised me. Obviously, he came into the league with a big pedigree at college, but never quite worked at Chicago. But then again, most quarterbacks don't work in Chicago, so try not to hold that over him. But no, as I say, I think he's doing well. Again, proper head coach there. Jesus, another brain fart moment here. What's his name? Head coach. Tomlin, there we go.
Tomlin.
Tipping my tongue there. But he's a proper head coach. He's, looking after them. It's nothing flashy, but they're getting the job done. They've got great pieces here. Again, I'd see a Pittsburgh win here. I don't see how Dallas get it. Parsons is banged up. Cooks is likely out. I think he's going to be banged up for a wee while here. Hence all the Devontae Adams trade rumours to Dallas as well. I think TJ Watt completely annihilates Dak in this one, and it's going to be a really rough day for him. Yeah.
Patrick, you agree?
It's one of those ones. Smudger touched on it. The Cowboys are so unpredictable. They can either blow somebody out or be blown out. It's really difficult to tell with them sometimes. I just think, like Danny says, the Steelers' defense, what's going to kill Prescott?
Yeah. Lack of a run game, really.
They're so much better organised. The Steelers, surprise package this year as well. Given obviously the QB and who it was going to be and who was a starter was and things like that. Surprised everyone this year so far.
I was surprised, like when the Cowboys were talking about the rumours about Adams and the Cowboys. Like, if the Cowboys need anything, it's probably the run game that they need to work on, rather than once they get healthy receivers, that's not maybe so much the issue. But if Adams was on a team like the Steelers, that would be a really interesting prospect. Just be something else that potentially you've got this quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what will happen with Wilson longer term, but Fields is doing all right. And if he had another weapon like that, it would be really, really cool to see how the Steelers could progress. But I don't know what you boys think about the QB situation with the Steelers. It's a weird one.
With the QB situation, I think it's exactly how it should be. Russell Wilson seems to be past it now, and he's where he should be on the sidelines, just providing that wee bit of backup. So,
and he's full pads.
Why isn't he full pads when he was injured? What was that all about?
This is Russell Wilson. I don't know.
That's like the same weirdo you see walking down the street in the full kit and the shin pads at like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. You get down to the shops for a loaf of bread, isn't it? Same vibe you're getting from. But Wilson's done. At the end of the day, what they paid him £1 million, £1.5 million. It doesn't really matter.
It's changed.
At the end of the day, as well, continue to go. Fields is getting them proper food for thought about going forward and extending him, giving them a proper contract, and they've got to keep on riding him as long as they can.
Okay, we're going to spike it. This is super fast answers for these ones. Saints at the Chiefs, probably should give this one a wee bit more time. It could be a fairly decent game, but I'm just looking for a quick one for you then, Patrick, for the Saints and the Chiefs.
Saints. Chiefs have rode their luck long enough.
Ooh, Derek Carr going to do Derek Carr things, it seems. Danny?
They've got the potential on their day. They've got the potential, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Chiefs and the officials to do it.
Smudger?
I think Saints, because the Chiefs they do this, like they're 4-0, but they have these odd games where they have a wee blip, and then they soon right it. But they've got Rice being highly doubtful. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. They've already is that now? It's definitely aye. Yeah. So there you go. I just think this could be the week where they have that blip will they figure out who's going to be stepping up and what Mahomes is going to have to do to get this offense working?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see the Saints sneaking a wee win here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, it's as if they have these games, but they haven't been playing well. They get beat, and then they just press the reset, and then they kick on from there. As Patrick says, Rashid Rice is on IR. Allegedly, it's Rashid Rice's mum who is questionable after her theft from doorsteps. Allegedly, of course. Colts, Jaguars. Just again, one word, Craig. Colts, Jags.
Well spiked, mate.
Gotta go Colts. Why not?
Colts. Go for it, Danny.
Jags.
Generational talent showing he's worth there. Patrick.
Colts.
Colts. I'll go for the. Do you know what? I'm going to go for the Jags in that one. They're coming over to London. Looking forward to speaking to Sarah again. That was on for the preview. So yeah, looks good. And finally, Dolphins at the Patriots. Patrick.
Nothing each.
Nothing each.
Who cares? Patriots defense will do the job.
Go for it, Craig.
I'd love it. I'd love it if a game finished 0-0. Be absolutely hilarious. It's going to be such a low scoring in this one, but let's go Patriots. Let's give Danny some optimism because the Dolphins are just woeful. As soon as two has gone down, they've been a total shambles. So yeah, let's go Pats. Go Pats.
You're tanking for Travis. That's what you're doing. No, I have no idea, to be honest, in this game. Both teams really, really banged up. Injury lists year long, so I'll go with Pats just because I'm never the optimist, but God knows.
I just quickly checked Scorigami to see if there had been a now the last one was 73 games actually 0-0. Last one was 1943, so there we go, record breakers this weekend.
That's the bet for this weekend, boys. Nothing each.
Fantastic. I hope the Chargers, Titans, the Lions, and the Eagles enjoy their bye week. We are certainly looking forward to our week down in London. If you made it this far, thanks very much for listening, for watching. Make sure you share your love for the crew. Get in touch with us. Let us know what you're thinking. We've had some comments this evening as the podcast has been going on. Studs has been saying it's good to see some older faces on the pods. We had Mikey, our resident Ravens fan, talking about Lamar Jackson being 20-1 against the NFC. So it looks like the Ravens are certainly in again for that one. Which reminds me that the Ravens are holding a watch party this weekend in the Raven Pub in Glasgow. If you get a chance to head down, they're going to be watching Ravens game as well as Red Zone there. So yeah, let us know how you get on there, and best of luck to all the Ravens fans heading along to that one. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for listening, getting in touch. Hi to Scott Hartley, who's just sent a wee message there. Hi Scott, thanks very much for listening. Get your questions in. We'll look forward to hearing them next week, guys. Early to bed for you lot. We've got a big weekend ahead of us, and I cannot wait. Thanks very much for joining us again, Patrick.
Cheers, mate. Good to be back.
Yeah, Danny.
Cheers, pal. An absolute blast as ever.
And Smudger.
Cheers, boys. Looking forward to a top weekend with you all in London. Can't wait.
Fantastic. We have been the Gridiron Crew and look forward to speaking to you again next week.